Dare to be great, people you're gonna find. That you being great is simply a state of mind. Fame all around, and once you have found, success lies between your ears. Your bright tomorrows will burn away sorrows and melt all your fears.
Recently, in a television interview, I was asked by the host about my longevity, almost 40 years in this business. I gave my usual flippant answer to get a laugh, and it did, and then we went on with the interview. Later that evening, as I was flying home, I started thinking about that question. The answer I'd given came from a story I've told for years, and the story went like this. Many years ago, when I was just a kid, 7 or 8 years old, it was Christmas time, and I wanted a bicycle so bad. So I wrote to Santa and I asked him for a new bicycle. And my cousin, he asked for a new bicycle too. Christmas morning came and no new bike for me. But my cousin got his new bike and he wouldn't even let me ride it. It had all the bells and the bebop birds and just everything that you could want on a bicycle. I went out behind the barn that year and I cried. I figured Santa must have made a mistake because I knew I was just as good as my cousin. The next year, I wrote to Santa and I asked for a BB gun because that's what my cousin asked for. And I copied his letter, so I made sure I spelled everything exactly right and I got the right address for Santa Claus. Christmas came and the same story. My cousin got his BB gun and all I got was apples and oranges. I went out behind the barn that year and I said, "Okay, Santa, if that's the way you want to play." And I made up my mind that day that I was going to become my own Santa Claus. It's a cute story and it does illustrate determination, but it didn't answer the original question, where had my determination come from? For that I had to look a little deeper. You see, show business in and of itself is a difficult business and most people don't ever make it. The area of entertainment that I chose is even more difficult because you can't rehearse or even plan a show. Granted, my show was good because I had listened to my mentor, Jack Barry, and everything that Jack said I took as gospel. He would tell me things like, always be original because you can never take pride in someone else's work. Really love your audience and that love will always be returned. Always remember, you're not the star of your own show. The people up on that stage are the stars. This is all good advice, but still it did not answer the question. It did not explain why I had kept going when I couldn't get work, or I didn't have enough money to eat or even get to the next job. It didn't explain why when my wife, who had helped me write the original show, left, and I was terrified to walk on stage by myself. Where did the courage to keep trying come from? My friends might tell you it's because I'm just stupid or pig-headed, and well, they're probably right. But it occurred to me that there might be another answer, a key. Where had I learned to never give up? When I left Reno, Nevada years later after going broke again and losing everything, including the love of my life, where did the intestinal fortitude to start over one more time come from? I could have gotten a job and probably still be working for someone else today. But whenever I was faced with defeat or failure, my strength and persistence came from someone I met a few years earlier. Let me tell you how it happened. I put myself through college and supported my family as a door-to-door salesman. I started selling family portrait plans and eventually started my own company selling bronze baby shoes. One day, another salesman invited me to go hear a motivational speaker he had been hearing about. I declined and said, no, I need to get home, or I made something up, until he said he was buying drinks afterwards. I said, what time are you picking me up? He took me to a hall with over 3,500 people singing and chanting and yelling, go, 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 and I thought, this is not dignified. This is not my cup of tea at all. I listened to a couple of speakers telling me about attitude and positive thinking and all of that garbage, and I'd heard it at sales meetings before. Same old stuff, probably good for some people, but not for me. I already knew all that. I was getting ready to slip out when I heard the speaker introduce, ladies and gentlemen, the chairman of the board of all of Turner Enterprises, Mr. Glenn W. Turner. I looked up, and a young man in a fire engine red suit came running through the auditorium. He leaped up on the stage, and the crowd was screaming, and I thought, I have to get out of this circus. And then he started to speak. I learned that he was an 8th grade dropout who was born with a hair lip in a charity ward in South Carolina. His family sharecroppers. He spoke through his nose, so I had to listen to him really carefully. But over the next hour, this man spoke directly to my heart and to my soul. He reminded me of things that I knew but had forgotten. That speech was filmed and later distributed as a movie called Challenge to America, and it's considered by many people to be one of the greatest motivational speeches ever given. I've included that film as a part of this program a little later on. But that night changed my life, and I never looked back. I joined Mr. Turner's company, and it was called Dare to Be Great. And I took his classes and attitude adjustment seminars. My wife said I was crazy. I made $87,000 commissions in my first 30 days with the company. She said, well, yeah, but how long can that last? I said, honey, at $87,000 a month, how long does it have to last? Unfortunately, it didn't last, because we were teaching people that they could have or be anything in this world that they dreamed. And we were teaching them how to do it. The federal government sued us for selling pipe dreams. They said we were pyramiding. We were sued in every state. Bank accounts were seized. Homes taken away. But when the smoke had cleared, Mr. Turner had won every case. But the expense and publicity had destroyed Dare to Be Great. The company was gone, but the philosophy was still alive. At least I knew it was in me. I'd learned about purpose and goals and to never give up. And I learned how to face any challenge. My life had been changed, and this became even more apparent over the next 40 years, because whenever I was faced with a challenge, whether it was business, personal, or moral, I always went back to things I had learned in Dare to Be Great. But until that television interview, I had never given much thought to why the Dare to Be Great philosophy had worked so well for me and not for everyone else. Thousands of people had taken this course, but most of the people in Dare to Be Great had given up. When Mr. Turner fell, they gave up on themselves. They had not heard when he told them not to believe in him, but to believe in themselves. I had believed him when he said, if someone like he can make it, with all of his disadvantages, what was my excuse? Folks, I have had a life of abundance because of the principles I learned in this program. And I decided to create a program to share these principles, to try to touch other people's lives the way mine had been touched. But first, I had to find out why it had worked for me and not for everyone. You see, a master key that only opens a few locks is useless to most people. What had the original program missed? Why didn't it stick with everyone? For months, I studied other success motivational programs, and I saw that some people were getting it and others were not. It was not until I was preparing a talk on hypnosis and how to program the subconscious that I realized the answer was in front of me all along. I had used a form of self-hypnosis to reprogram my subconscious with success principles. This was something I'd learned in college. But to me, because of this, failure was impossible. You see, when someone tries to lose weight without reprogramming the subconscious to be slim, they can do it for a while, but the weight always comes back because the old habits are still there. They've only been suppressed. A person can live success principles for a while, but when the motivation is gone, the old habits come back. They were never removed, only suppressed. This was like a eureka moment. Was that the key? Don't just learn principles, but program your mind so that you can live them every day. What if I could hypnotize someone to think successfully? What if I could use hypnosis to eliminate negative, defeatist attitudes? If I could do that, I could change lives. And then I realized, I can do that. The result of that sudden insight is this program called The Key. I've taken much of the old Dare to Be Great principles, I've added a few from other sources, and I've thrown in a few of my own. But what makes this program different is I've added the missing element, the key. the key to make these lessons a part of your everyday life. I have provided a technique whereby a person can eliminate the possibility of failure from their life. I've examined happy, successful lives, and I've taken the principles on which those lives are based and made them available to you to download into your own mental computer. In this program, you'll be given a key to unlock such things as passion. Not only a passion for life, but rekindling this passion for your spouse and for your life's work, a passion for your life's purpose, and discovering and unlocking your life's purpose. Most people spend their entire lives working to make money and ignore their reason for being. My grandfather spent his entire life working for an insurance company. After 40 years, he was retired. He was given a gold watch and a Kool-Aid party. He had raised a wonderful family, but still he died feeling unfulfilled. I have a gold watch. It says, "To Terry Stokes, the greatest guy in the world." From Terry Stokes, the greatest guy in the world. So now, I don't have to wait 40 years. I'm free to spend my time pursuing my dreams. In this program, you'll be given a key to unlock a stress-free life. Stress is the biggest killer in America today. It causes disease and fear. And by eliminating stress from your life, you'll be free to enjoy all of life's wonders. You'll be given a key to unlock a life free from pain, a life full of self-confidence. And there's so much more in this program. Each CD is designed to remind you of things that you may know, but you've forgotten. Then the next track actually leads you into a light level of hypnosis and gives your subconscious mind suggestions to implement these ideas into your life. On many of the DVDs and CDs, I tell a lot of stories. I do this for several reasons. First, the greatest teacher who ever lived taught with stories. He called them parables, and they seem to work pretty well for him. Second, I like to tell stories. All of my stories are true, except for the parts that I add or make up or just plain lie about. But there is usually a point. It is my most sincere hope that you will find in this program the keys that will unlock your success and happiness so that you may live your life with all the joy that you were meant to have. I'd like to close by telling you a story, and it's a true story. It's a story that I love because it is true. Many years ago in London, the decision was made at a great cathedral to hire a new organ player. The old man who was being replaced was bitter and angry. He had been the organ player at this holy place for over 40 years. No one had ever complained. He had devoted his life to the church, and now they were just turning him out to pasture. Musicians from all over the country applied, and a selection was made, and the old man was told that he would be playing at his last service before turning the position over to the new organist. On that final day, the old man played as he had for years, and as he finished his last selection, he slowly closed the cabinet down over the keyboard, removed the key from his pocket, and he locked the organ. As he stood to leave, the congregation stood to show their appreciation for all of his years of service. But the old man did not even hear. His life was being taken from him. The new organ player was about to sit and do his first selection when he noticed the organ was locked. "Sir, wait," he called. "You forgot to leave me the key. The organ is locked. I can't play without the key." Begrudgingly, the old man removed the key from the chain where it had hung for so many years, and he handed it to his replacement. As the old man was walking away from the cathedral, he heard the music coming from inside the church. He stopped and listened, and what he heard made him weep. It was the most beautiful music he had ever heard. He never even imagined that that old organ could make such beautiful sounds. The old man continued to weep at the beauty. And after the service, the old man stood outside the church and greeted each parishioner as they came out with these words: "I gave him the key. He could not have done it without me. I gave him the key." To his dying day, the old man's proudest claim was that he had given the key to Johann Sebastian Strauss to play in Winchester Cathedral. I began this recording talking about Glenn W. Turner. In the last few years, Mr. Turner and I have become friends. He has spoken at several of my seminars, and believe it or not, I've been asked to speak at some of his. He's now known as the Unstoppable American. Well, I'm relatively sure Mr. Turner will be viewing this video, and I said that so that I might say this. Another thing that I learned from Mr. Turner in Dare to Be Great is to forget what you do for others, but never, ever forget what others do for you. If even one life is changed or enriched because of this program, it is because, Mr. Turner, you gave me the key. Thank you, and God bless.
Be great. Dare to be great. It's easy, just give it a try. Dare to think big and make the ceiling the sky. Purpose and plan distinguish the man who somehow always achieves. So roll up your sleeves, the world can be yours when you dare to be great. So roll up your sleeves, the world can be yours when you dare to